welcome to Bitcoin Technical Analysis. Today with George, co-founder of BTC SX and financial analyst, and BTC VIX from Whale Club TeamSpeak. Hi guys, thanks
Hi,
for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
thanks.
Great. So we've had a little bit of movement since the last time we met. VIX, what's been going on with the Bitcoin price?
Yeah, I think after our last video, we were basically like on this candle, if I remember correctly. And me and George were both saying like it just didn't feel like we had that kind of, you know, just stupid candle yet. And sure enough, the next day opened and we got, all the way down to 192 on futures. Now, I don't know. I was expecting it to be a little bit more stupid than that, but it certainly did put in kind of a nice formation for the bulls to ride up, and we've had a pretty decent rally all the way up to 231 on futures here. But we're coming into a heavy level of supply here. We got the Spider Crusher dynamic levels. Let's see here. We got a weekly candle and several of the daily and 3 days printing above. So I'm a little weary that this rally is going to continue in the very short term. Here's a 30-minute chart. We got willies. We got some heavy willy divergence going on right here. And we're breaking down out of it. Still supported by the EMAs, but I'm definitely leaning short-term bearish here for the next, call it 4 to 8 hours. I don't know if I can really give a larger time frame than that. Other than the 4 hours, still has room to go, but right now I'm leaning slightly bearish. I did want to go over to Finex real quickly here on Wisdom, and we were looking not too long ago. The depth had come back into Finex, and we were seeing over 10K bids around the 200 level. It's thinned out a little bit, just as of note, as Finex still goes through these database corruption saga that's continuing, and I don't know if we're going to see more fallout and less liquidity come out of Finex because of that. That's really all I have for the Bitcoin side of things.
Okay, great. So not only has there been a lot going on with the Bitcoin price, there's been some movement in the S&P, Euro, and other world markets. George, what do you have for us today?
Hi, thanks. So I'll start off with the U.S. dollar because we were talking about that on the last show and how it had weakened dramatically. Well, this is a one-year chart, and it's kind of had this big surge in the last couple of days. I don't know if that's the result of an oversold bounce or people looking for the Fed to do something in September or not, but other currencies have failed versus the U.S. dollar and weakened, and that could simply be the reason why it started to move back. But it's recaptured its 200-day on the daily charts, and kind of strengthening in here. Still trapped between some big moving averages, but it's definitely improved since it got oversold on the RSI. This next chart I put together is just the US dollar versus a bunch of other currencies, the euro, the Aussie dollar, the Canadian dollar, the Japanese yen, and the British pound. And as you can see from the February levels, the dollar kind of was going sideways, and a lot of currencies bounced from low levels. But if you come back down to the right of the chart, I mean, since that crash over here, and now it's recovering, you can see how every other currency is weakened against the U.S. dollar. So more of the same in that, and it looks like the dollar strength might be coming back in a bit. The next chart I have here is the commodity chart, and it goes back to '09, and it's just phenomenal how it's oversold and at levels lower than it was back in the financial crisis. I'm not saying we're bottoming here, particularly if dollar strength happens again, but if the world isn't going into a collapse, I can't see how much further it could go down here. But it's just phenomenal how much it's collapsed and continues to collapse in here. So at some point, you're probably going to get a massive rally out of this massive oversold condition and just people just looking to buy on the cheap. Over here, I have a chart of oil, and oil is, and this also goes back to around. This is a 9-year, 8-year chart, and oil is back around the same levels it was in '09 as well. So very interesting. I mean, there's definitely supply problems in the oil price, but again, if we're kind of not in a place where we're about to collapse into utter global chaos, I can't see it going much lower here. However, there's nothing in the chart that says that it can't. But I'm thinking that this level over here, the '09 levels, will probably be massive support, and we'll see what happens in the coming days and weeks if the markets recover and we get some good signs out of some of the economies of the world. The next chart I have is the S&P, which, as we all know, has been cascading in recent weeks. As of yesterday, it was down to only up 1% since 2013. That's how much it collapsed over the last 8 trading days. We got a nice bounce today in the price. Went pretty mental, and we're back above the 100-day on a weekly chart. So that's kind of good. It's recaptured some big levels, but the question will remain: is it a dead cat bounce, or are we in the process of bottoming here? That's something that the next couple of days, I guess, will tell us, and we'll see where we go from here. But it was a quality bounce today, and we recaptured some levels that you want to see recaptured. I had mentioned last week when I put, I guess on Monday, when I put this chart up, that we were oversold for the first time since 2011, which is over here. It's obviously come off that since then, but it's getting oversold. It didn't happen. Is the 10-year Treasury yield, and it's been getting pummeled lately because of all the global growth scares and the economy's the Chinese economy looking like it's deflating, et cetera, so a flight to safety. However, it looks here like it's bottoming, and surprisingly, I was looking at it and the RSI has never gotten really down to an oversold level, and kind of putting in a double bottom here, and it started to move back up towards some of these moving averages, but even the MACD looks like it's crossing over here. So this chart is looking like it could bounce a bit, and if yields start to rise, that could be another sign that we're seeing some growth coming back into the global economy, and we just got another growth scare, but on our way to maybe a 1987 type event, and things will move up and on from here. I mean, I think it's really going to come down to what the Fed decides to do, and a lot of people are speculating they're not going to raise. A lot of the macro events that have happened have left them in a place where they probably can't raise, but some people are saying they still might raise anyway based on some of the stuff they're looking at. So I think right now they're in Jackson Hole, and the next couple of weeks will be interesting as there's chatter around what they're going to do. But when we finally find out, that's really, I think, where all the markets will probably take their cue from. And then finally, I'm going to talk about the Shanghai for a couple of minutes. It's in an awful place. It's gone below 3,000. I mean, there's nothing else you can really say. Just look at the chart itself. It's oversold though, and it hasn't been this oversold at all year. But it doesn't look very good here at all. So I wanted to take a step back and look at a chart that's a little bit bigger than that. So I went back to a chart that goes back to 2009. It's about a 7-year chart on a weekly. And we've fallen through major levels. I put these dotted lines here between this 3,400 and 3,000 level, which was kind of levels that needed to hold and haven't held. But what's interesting enough is, though, it's still above his 200-day weekly moving average. But it's not. I won't be predicting where this is going to go, but it's quite amazing with all of the monetary policy that the Chinese have put in that it still has not been able to help the markets at all in any way, shape, or form. And it's really just ugly, plain period. But the reason why I was bringing up Shanghai last is because I want to compare that to the Bitcoin price, where we talked about this for quite a while, where there was this inverse correlation where the Shanghai and the Bitcoin price would trend in different directions. And as you can see, they both have been going down in tandem over since August started. So maybe we see something happen where there's a decoupling of that, but so far there really hasn't been, except for this movement in the Bitcoin price in the last couple of days. But overall, like I was saying the other day, with the VIX surging and everything correlating to one, it's been a place where you just don't, everything has been going down together. So, as we start to rally in all these different markets, I'd say the thing you want to look for is what's rallying and what's not, and those things will probably lead if there's another upturn that comes. And then just one final thing about Bitcoin. I tend to agree with VIX. I mean, we're in a place of, where at one point there was accumulation overhead. Now it looks like supply overhead. And, we've had this nice rally, which I thought was a bit surprising. I thought we'd probably test lower levels a little harder than we did. But obviously there's people accumulating in that 220 range and below. So that still seems to be the area that you need to watch. And if 220 breaks again, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But, just looking at the Bollingers, still wide, still looks like volatility's here, but the price is way below the middle line of the Bollinger Bands, and I'm not really getting too excited here. RSI is not in a great place either, so that's all I really have. I wouldn't be buying in here unless we moved up above, I guess, like 235-ish or something. But even then, I'm very cautious in here and just looking to see what happens over the next coming days. Thanks.
Okay, thanks a lot, George. Okay, that was Bitcoin Technical Analysis for today. Thanks a lot for watching. Check out the links in the description. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, World Crypto Network. Also, give us a thumbs up. Make sure to share this video. And if you have any questions or comments, please comment below. You can check us every Wednesday here on World Crypto Network. See you next time.